path found me, to be honest. It was one of those where, especially back in 2009, 18 when I left, September 18, it just wasn't a thing, really. And when I was, I suppose, approached, if you want to call it that, about sort of this way of working, not as an agent, as actually coming in as a leadership role to help the agents sort of improve, to me it just made complete sense, and it was everything that I thought agency should be in the first place. But I suppose being in that corporate bubble, and it is the best way to describe it, is you feel like you're changing the world, and actually you're not, if I'm honest. And I think that when you come out of that space, it becomes very clear that I don't want to call it wasted time, because I don't think any experience is wasted. It's either you win or you learn. But I do look back and think I spent 11 years in that world and always strived, what's the next step, what's the next step? And it was all very much, if I'm honest, an element of ego with sort of, I suppose, titles and, things like that, when the reality is it means absolutely nothing. And you realize very quickly when you leave that world that it was literally all for nothing, because they couldn't care less about you, frankly. It's a case of there will just be another one of you, and the business is geared towards, and this might sound really harsh, but it was just my experience of it. The business is geared towards what's best for the business, and you are just a worker ant. And unfortunately, no matter how hard you work, no matter how deeply passionate you are about providing an amazing service or creating an amazing culture for your team, the impact is absolutely minimal, unfortunately. So, like I said, when you're in that world, you're not encouraged. It's almost, it makes me laugh now to a degree. If you walked into an office and one of your team members was on their phone, you'd kick their ass. If they're on social media, you'd kick their ass twice. And really, when you think about then that mentality of you're not allowed to have any element of thought leadership, it's not about growing your personal brand. It is a case of you are nothing. It's all about the company name and our office, and without us, you don't really mean much. And again, that sounds really harsh, but I guarantee you that a lot of people that work in that world probably realize that, but they're just not ready or willing to do anything to kind of to change. And it's not until you leave that you then realize, yep, it's exactly what it was. But again, look, that's just one of the things I say a lot to people, is that I think when you own a business, you earn the right to do what the hell you want. I think it's very easy to sit in an employed role and criticize, but ultimately go and do it then. Go and do it differently. You've got the opportunity, same opportunities as everybody else. I just feel like sometimes, especially when you get in at a young age and you work your way up, you've only ever known that. Companies feel like these big, massive monsters. And when you see the inner workings, 17 million departments, that are dealing with this and that, and it's a very segmented process, you would not think in a million years you could go and create that, because you just think, I don't have the money or the expertise, there's more to learn. And what you realize is that actually those departments and segmented process, it's all kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's sort of like they need all of that because they're going after volume, and because they're going after volume, they need all of that. And actually, if you take a step back and go, well, what is it our actual job is? We kind of help people move home. How many people does it, it's almost like a joke, how many estate agents does it take to sell a house? It's a case of how many people do you need on the valuation? How many people do you need doing the viewing? How many people do you need doing the sales progression? So really, if you're not going after that mass volume approach, you don't need any of that, like that rubbish, frankly. And if anything, you realize really quickly that that is what leads to poor service, which leads to low fees, which leads to low wages, which leads to low caliber staff, which leads to poor service. So it's almost like a downward spiral, but there is a different and a better way of doing it. And all you need to do is look outside of the UK to realize that, because we've got one of the lowest fees in the world, and we're also seen as one of the lowest caliber professions in the world. So it's almost kind of like, oh, look at the correlation.